Right, we live TyTy Takeaways coming to you from TyTy, Georgia. All right,
Back in the States.
back in the States, back in the saddle, back in the seat, and we are coming to you today from my nose clean.
I was itching. My nose
Oh, I
was
thought
itching.
you were saying my nose. So
No,
all
I'll
right.
just tell you. Usually I tell you if you
yeah,
got
well, I wanted to make
the
sure.
boogers.
I wanted to make sure we weren't on camera. If it wasn't on camera, I didn't want you to leave me hanging. So. I hope y'all are doing great, and I want to say this thank you to Joel and Lauren for handling TyTy Takeaways
Yes,
last
I
week.
went back and watched
Y'all did a
it.
great job. We appreciate that. And
Yes.
it's good to be back. Good to be with you today. And
I was out of the country so long, not driving. Like, we rode buses and trains and planes and water buses, about everything you could think of. And when so then I get back in my car and drive, because, we haven't driven in like 9 days, or 7 days, and I'm so jet lagged, like I'm sleepy, and I was getting gas today, and I forgot how to get gas, and I was standing there trying to pump the gas, and it kept saying waiting for a cashier to authorize. And so it wasn't working. So I drove around, and I'm like half asleep, because we were in Italy, so it was a 6-hour time difference. And the way home was like a 10-hour flight and then driving. And so we just didn't sleep very much. And so then I drove around to the next pump. Same thing. I punch in my number to save cents off of a gallon, punch in my phone number and all the things, and then it wouldn't work. And I called Joan and I said, I can't get gas. Like, I said, what's going on? And he was like, did you put your debit card in? And I was like, no, I'm holding my debit card. Don't you do that at the end? I was so sleepy. I forgot you had to put your debit card in first.
and she was out driving.
Because all week we would pay at the end. And that was just in my head, like, you don't pay till the end. Well, you have to pay at the beginning when you get gas. I was
goodness.
like, I'm so sleepy right now.
So hey, just speaking about that, we were out of the country and we had a great trip. We're celebrating 20 years of marriage this
On
month.
the 18th.
And so we won a partially paid trip to Italy, and so we went there for 7 days. We're gone 9 days, and 2 days we're traveling, but 7 days there. And we went to Rome, Venice, and Florence.
And Tuscany.
Had a great time. And then I want to say I missed everybody at the church, and it looks like God blessed here. Last weekend it was great to have Samuel come in and preach, and Jason. Thank you all for doing that.
We tried to watch the service while we were riding in an Uber in the city.
Yeah, we did.
Leaving
watch
the
some of
Rome
it.
Coliseum, we tried to watch some of the service.
Yep. And
so we were thinking about
So
you.
we had a good trip, and I'm glad to be back home. I'm glad to see the boys. Titus cried when he gave me a hug. He said, "Dad, I miss you so much. I cried when I hugged you." So anyway,
And I want to be back in Italy.
and so it was nice to see the boys. It's good to see the church.
I didn't have
And,
to do laundry or dishes or cook all week. Like, that will spoil you.
Yeah.
Like, when I got back, I was like, oh, now I got to clean up after 6 people and do laundry and dishes and all those things that just are the daily grind.
Yes.
Yeah.
All the things.
No more maids to come in and pick up the dirty towels and
All
wash
the
the
things.
dirty dishes. And shout out to John's mom for coming and doing all those things all week for 4 boys. We love you, Grandmama. Thank you.
Yeah. And
they got to enjoy her good cooking all week. She said she cooked a ton for them.
Mm-hmm.
So we appreciate.
So tell everybody maybe what some of your favorite things about the trip were.
So one of my favorite things was the city of Rome, and just, gosh, one thing that stood out to me was how big God is and how many people are in the world. Because, you see people not just from Italy, not just Italians, but there were people from China. There were people we met people from Mexico. We met people from Colombia, from South America. literally they were sitting with us speaking these different languages, and it just reminds me how many people are on this world that God is watching over, and how tiny I am, like how small we are in the big world that we live in. When you're in another country and you see and you realize, wow, like there's other languages there, it's just amazing. And then we went on some tours, and it was funny to see how the tour guide was in charge of like 20 adults, and how that was, how a couple of those ladies did not want to follow the leader. And that tour guide had to get on to them. And that was kind of funny to watch. I don't know, there were so many good things. I don't even know where to start. Of course, a lot of good pasta, but we walked so much, which was also fun. Met some nice people, and saw some a lot of biblical history stood in the place that Paul from the Bible stood. And I mean, you might want to talk more about the biblical history side. We went into churches and saw all the paintings of, John the Evangelist, and who was on the other side? Mark, the disciples, and paintings of Jesus, and all of these beautiful paintings of biblical, like John said, Jesus is everywhere. So many just paintings. And actually, one thing was, it in Rome, it had the statues. It was this big statue, and around it were statues of people, and you figured out who they were. Like, one was Moses. What were the other ones?
Yeah, Isaiah, Ezekiel. Yeah.
And they were like holding the Bible. Like, I don't know, it's like, how can people deny that all of that wasn't true? You know what I'm saying? Like, the Bible is real, and it's real history, and it really did happen. Yeah. And we saw the Leaning Tower of Pisa, and
which was not as tall as I thought it would be.
Yeah, it did not look very tall compared to all the other huge buildings.
Yeah.
Like the Pantheon and all the big columns. When we saw the building, I think it was called the Pantheon, with the huge columns, it made me think about Samson and the Bible story where he was blind, and where he, at the last thing, where he pushed against the pillars and the whole building crumbled. Like, it just, made me think of that. But I don't know, what stood out to you?
Well, it reminded me just how young America is, how old Rome is, and Italy. I mean, some of the buildings have been there 2,000 years, and so that was pretty neat to see, and to touch those walls, that others touched. But I think probably one of the neatest things, or most realistic for me, was when we went to the Colosseum. And, we stood where Romans would have stood and watched the gladiators and the games there in the Colosseum. And our tour guide was sharing with us how, when there was a great fire in Rome, when Nero was leader, he blamed that on the Christians, that they were trying to burn down Rome. And he talked about how Nero rounded up a lot of Christians, and they would put them in the Colosseum, and they would turn loose lions. They would starve these lions for 4 or 5 weeks. Then they would turn them loose to devour the Christians in Rome before Constantine became ruler there. But standing where Romans would have stood to watch that, and it's not like a replica building, it's the same building. And
it's halfway torn down. He told us the word amphitheater meant a circle wall and then another circle wall. I didn't know that was an amphitheater. I thought an amphitheater was just an outdoor theater. But he said originally the Colosseum was 2 circles. And of course, if you've ever seen a picture of the Colosseum now, part of it is like torn, is broken. Part of it is broken, but they have it, what are those things called? A retaining wall or something. They have and I took pictures of all of that, but how they have it, a wall built to still hold it up even though part of it fell down.
It was a war. It didn't fall down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I kind of zoned out during the history. I do better if I read it in a book versus hearing. But our tour guide was really, JD's calling you. Our tour guide was,
What do you need?
he
What's
was
up,
a
Jay?
very, very sweet older man that
What?
used to be an archaeologist.
Don't try right now. We're on TyTy takeaways, though. I need to let you go. All right. No, wait. Hey, don't. No, you don't have to go the other way. It's fine. Just don't worry about it. Bye. Do what? No, just don't worry about it. Just we'll do it later.
But anyways,
All right, bye.
this is he okay?
Yeah, he's fine.
The tour guide he used to be an archaeologist, and he still, I think, goes and debates all of these like history. He wouldn't even tell us his name. I think he was some kind of famous guy, and he wouldn't tell John his name, and he was really neat. But it was weird thinking about people watched Christians get eaten by lions in that Colosseum, and how courageous those Christians were, you know, to die for their faith. I mean, to be eaten by a lion because they wouldn't bow down to idols, because they wouldn't worship, you know, the kings, because they worship Jesus as their king. And it was just humbling to think about that Christians died there for their faith. But yeah, stay tuned. I'll be posting pictures every day of our Italy trip on my Facebook page. I've only posted a couple separate ones because we took so many. So just if you're interested in that kind of a thing and all the history and all the what it looks like over there, you can just go look at all my pictures.
Something else I thought was interesting was when we went to Venice. They have a place that's called it's named after Saint Mark. So Mark, who wrote the Gospel of Mark, the history there is some from Venice in like the late 800s after Christ's death. They went to Alexandria in Egypt and actually stole, robbed the bones of Mark, and brought them back to his relics. They brought them back to Venice there. And so, something that was kind of sad to me is how, the Roman Catholic Church, they don't have the gospel.
Mm-hmm.
And, they worship Mary, they worship saints. They don't have a gospel presentation. And so, it's it's sad in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
When you look at all that. So, and something else that was kind of troubling to me was I didn't see one Baptist church
Right.
in Italy.
Yeah, we kept talking about
Yeah, we need
how we
some
to send missionaries
Baptist churches in Italy.
to Italy.
Some Baptist churches with Baptist doctrine, a Baptist gospel, with John the Baptist heart, to preach the gospel. And so anyway, there was a lot of artwork, a lot of paintings and carvings of biblical personalities. So it was a pretty amazing trip.
And we went to a church there at the Vatican area. We went to this huge church, and it was on a Sunday, and they were actually having
Mass
and 2 or 3 baby dedications, and we got to watch the priest sprinkle the baby's head, and they would hold the baby up and shake it. Of course, I was sad because they probably are putting their hope in that instead of
they are. They're not
instead
probably
of
they
Jesus.
are. Yeah.
And so it was like sad. I just thought, man, these people, if they don't, if they're going to that Catholic church, they probably don't believe the gospel, and it is sad.
We even saw a
thinking
confessional booth,
about it. Yeah.
a place
And
where they would kneel and confess to the, the priests their sin, and it's just a lot of idolatry, a lot of real ritualistic practices that don't have any foundation in the scripture. So it's sad,
And we saw people sitting there in the church looking at it looked like a dead person, like a mummy, and then a painting, and then
Mary,
candles, and they were literally praying to that. And I was taking pictures, and John was like, Brandy, they're like really praying.
Yeah.
And there was a person over there to my right, and he was on his knees praying, and I thought, gosh, that looks like how we pray, but they're not praying to a real God. They're praying to Mary, or they're they're praying to a dead loved one. We saw candles lit, and it is just sad that they are putting their hope in the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And so, we need to plan a mission trip to Italy.
Yeah. So, so much to talk about on the trip. So, hey, just some things that we need to just kind of remind everybody about is
tonight.
There's a blood drive taking place right now in the social hall. I think it's until 7.
Until 7 o'clock tonight.
And then we have the Elijah Bible study starts tonight. Just
40
a
minutes.
correction, it's not in the social hall, it's in the youth room.
Only tonight it's in the youth room, which is in the gym. Go in the gym, go down to your right, you'll see a door that says youth above it. We'll meet in there tonight because the blood drive is in the social hall.
We need to make sure the lights are on in the gym and the door's unlocked.
I'll tell you later.
Okay.
And then also
the other women's Bible study is at Pam Haskins' house. There's like over 10 women signed up for that. She was telling me today it's on a Bible study called He's Where the Joy Is by Tara Lee Cobble. Tara Lee Cobble is the one that we've been doing the Bible recap with. She's an amazing Bible teacher. And then Elijah is by Priscilla Schauer. We'll be watching her videos. And then Margaret Keck is leading up the Elijah Bible study. So come to
and
one
when
of
is
those.
This?
And then our main women's event for September is this Thursday, September 19th. I will be teaching, and then the worship will be led by Kirsten, Carrie, and Corey. They're going to sing 3 songs for worship. Then I'll be teaching the Bible. We're gonna that'll be in the sanctuary, and that is our big once a month September event.
So this week we have 3 women's Bible studies?
No, Pam's doesn't start till the 24th.
Okay.
But then the kids ministry, Kayla has planned a bowling trip with the kids ministry. That's September 21st. Pre-K to 6th grade. It's 11 a.m. to 1 o'clock, but you need to RSVP to Mrs. Kayla by 2 days ago. So I hope you already RSVP'd. But anyways, that'll be fun. And then tomorrow night is the Band of Brothers, the men's ministry. Tomorrow night, Tuesday, September 17th at 7 p.m. Oh, Luke Tompkins will be the speaker. Shout out to the college crew. Luke will be the speaker, and the meal will be barbecue. I always tell John, I'm like, bring me a plate of food home if there's any left over.
There's very left with barbecue for Band of Brothers.
But Ben Martin has been doing a great job with the Band of Brothers. So all men are encouraged to attend and bring a friend. That's for men and youth guys. Don't miss that. That's going to be great. That's all the announcements. So now
that's not all, but that's all we're making tonight.
There's a lot going on.
There's a lot of opportunities.
If you're a new lady or youth girl here and you're not a member of our private for women's only Facebook group for the Soul Sisters, please comment below or tell me. We can get you added to that. And we just post, I try to post encouraging things, little memes, and also the events and things coming up, and just kind of like, hey, how can we pray for you? What's God teaching you? If you're not in that group, please join us. So let's
so just a few things, I think that'd be good to talk about just for the time that we have left, it's, I think that it's, I think important for, just us as a church just to remember just the blessing it is to be part of a church.
Yes.
You know, it is a
Bible believing
Yeah.
church.
yeah, it's a true blessing to
It's
be.
not around the world.
Yeah,
It's not in Poland. I remember walking around Poland, kind of like Italy, looking around at all of these buildings that used to be churches that nobody's in, and how spoiled we are in America to have
Yeah, we're blessed.
a church on
Blessed.
every corner
Yeah, we're
that's
blessed.
not
Or at
a
least one every
Catholic
block.
church.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
It's not in every world.
You know,
some of the worlds, you can tell I'm jet lagged. Some of the places in other countries have to have underground churches. Anyway, sorry to interrupt. Go ahead. I'll try to be
And
quiet.
you know, I think that, you know, one of the greatest things we can be thankful for is to have a church family, you know, and to value that church family and to support that church family and to help aid in the ministry of that church family. And I tell you, I'm just so glad to be part of this church family. You know,
Amen.
I think that the love here, the friendliness here, the passion for souls, the passion for the gospel, it's awesome. And you know, I think when that is the church's DNA, to reach those that are lost and to help those that are saved to grow in their walk with Jesus, I think that's awesome. You know, our church is perfect. You know, that's a good question to look at. We can put that up. You know, our church is perfect. Do you think there's any perfect church?
No.
Yeah, I don't think there's any perfect church. You know, church is made up of flawed people. No church is perfect. You know, and I think there's...
I will say the churches that I always think they're super perfect, those are the ones that steer clear away from more.
Yeah.
Yeah, too much pride there,
Yeah.
right?
You know, and then, you know, so no church is perfect. So, but every member of a church, there's two different perspectives. Some people are optimistic, and some people are pessimistic, right? Some see the glass half full, some see the glass half empty. Some see the dark clouds, some see the silver lining in the clouds, you know. And I think that God, you know, Paul says, think on the things that are good, lovely, true, virtuous. I think whatever we focus on grows.
Yeah.
And so, you know,
and whatever we talk about
yeah.
grows.
And so I just want to encourage us as a church to stay unified, stay focused on Jesus, stay focused on the mission. I got a great, nice text today from a family that one thing they love about the church here is the focus on Jesus and lost people. And I think Jesus is coming back soon. They said that in the text even today. Jesus is coming back. And, you know, we need to stay focused on the mission, which is to seek and save the lost and glorify Jesus. You know, and so I think that's something that we can be very grateful for. And also I think we need to be grateful that God's given us His Word to guide us and lead us. So it's just awesome. God's doing so many great things here in the church, and just appreciate all those things. A lot of great things coming up, a lot of good things happening. And I just want to encourage all of you, just stay faithful, stay the course. I watched a great movie on the airplane about Winston Churchill. There was a quote that he said. He said, you know, failure's not final and success is not final, but the courage to continue is what counts. The courage to continue is what counts. And just want to encourage you as a church, keep marching on, keep pressing ahead, keep looking to Christ, keep the main thing the main thing. Don't let Satan and the world and other people distract you from the main vision and the main focus, and that is to lift up Jesus and to tell as many people as we can about Jesus before Jesus comes. And so just want to encourage you, keep your family in church, get your family in Sunday school. Ladies, get involved in our small group ladies ministry. Men, get involved in the men's ministry. Get involved in missions and outreach. We've got T-ball, we got soccer that's going on right now. And let's just stay focused on the main things. Amen?
And that goes with a quote you said Sunday morning. He, meaning Jesus, he's not the accessory, he's the main dish.
He's the main thing. He's the main thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, look, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for being faithful. Thank you for tuning in. You got anything else before we get off?
I guess we're not recapping this.
No. Well, you can if you want to. Go ahead. That's fine.
I mean, we don't have to.
What you got? I don't. What you got?
One thing you said that was convicting that I circled is you said we want Jesus to bless us but not change us. I was like, ouch. Ouch. But anyways, I mean, you just talked about the 3 types of crowds that come to Jesus. Some come for a social motive like Judas. Some come for a stormy motive if they were going through a hard time. But then in John 6:66, we see that they forsook Jesus. And then some come for spiritual reasons. So, you know, it was an evangelistic message, and just how King Agrippa was almost persuaded to follow Christ. Like, it was just such a plea for, like, hey, come to Jesus, you know, for the right reason to get saved. So it was very good, very good. And yeah, thank you to the guest singers last night.
Oh yeah, that was great.
You said last night was just an incredible.
Yeah, that was good.
A great time, a packed house, and so that's exciting.
Yeah, that was good.
So
that was
exciting.
great. Well, listen. All right. Well, look. God bless you. Thanks for tuning in, and y'all be sure to catch all these ministries happening this week. Okay.
And if you have a Bible question, put it in the comments.
All right. God bless.
Bye.